My name is Carolyn Byers. I'm the Director of Education at Madison Audubon. And usually I'm out in the community teaching kids. We partner with schools and community centers in Madison, and I visit about 200 to 300 kids a week. That's not possible right now. So instead, we're trying to get all of the content online that we can for everybody out there. So speaking of that, we have been working really hard on some new parts of our webpage, specifically a page is called Safer and Funner at Home. It's got lots of great ideas for activities and ways to connect kids to nature from your backyard, through your window, or at a park if you're able to get out. So everybody, please go and check out Safer and Funner at Home, and we'll be posting more things there as soon as we're able. So today we're going to be doing a nature journaling class, and this is specifically for kids in elementary school, but honestly, there's going to be a lot that anyone can take away from it. So please join us no matter your age. So what we're going to need today is paper, and you can grab a pencil. I'm going to use some charcoal so it's nice and dark and you can see it. And you're going to need a nature object. So something like a pine cone or a piece of bark, maybe a dried up flower head, whatever makes you happy. So while you all go and find those things, make sure you have them. I am going to talk about why I love nature journaling. I love it because it is relaxing. It really helps get rid of stress in my life. And it helps me to notice things more. So if I'm looking at a flower or a bird, even if I'm looking at them like a scientist would and really thinking about, what the bird is doing or why the flower is growing there, I still notice different things if I'm trying to draw them. I might notice the exact color of the flower or the angle that the bird's legs are held at while it's sitting on a branch. So I love the way nature journaling really helps me notice things. I also find that it just helps me remember things more. When I'm making a drawing, it's really easy for me to remember who I was with and where I was, even if I don't write those things down. I often do because I like to have notes about that, but it's just easier to remember. So I really hope that this class helps you all feel confident taking nature journaling outside, because right now I think we could all use a little relaxation, a little less stress, and a little more nature. And I like to nature journal inside a sketchbook like this. And let me see if I can make this bigger for all of you. Can I pin this? I don't know if I can. All right, we're gonna look at it like this. So here's my sketchbook, and I have one page for every day of the year, or every week of the year rather. And I try to make a drawing a week, and sometimes I get a drawing in and sometimes I don't. But it's really nice to have one spot to put everything. And you could use a sketchbook like this. You could take a bunch of computer paper and fold them together and staple them and call that your nature journal. You could find a notebook with lines in it if you like to have lines for writing. It really doesn't matter. And you don't even need a whole sketchbook like this. You could just work off of computer paper and then stick them all into a folder when you're done. The important part is to just get outside and draw. Totally. All right, does everybody have all the supplies you need? I think so. Ooh, I see Lola from Cottage Grove is here. Welcome. And some third graders and middle schoolers from Sun Prairie. Awesome. Good stuff. It's good to see you guys. All right, so I am going to find my nature object. And I actually have a whole bowl in my house like this that sits on my table. And whenever we go on a walk, we find some cool things and put it in there. And I always make sure these things end up back outside in nature because they don't need to live forever in my house. But I've got some bark. I have some turkey feathers. And I want to say that feathers in general are not things you should bring into your house because birds are protected and it's actually illegal to have their feathers. But turkeys are birds that you can hunt, and so you're able to have those feathers. So if you're certain it's a turkey feather, you can take it home. I have some pine cones. I have really cool bean pods from my garden. They're all dried and twisted from being outside all winter. I have a neat leaf. It's all twisted and curled. A milkweed pod. And I have these two really neat dried flower seed heads, and those are what I'm going to draw today because they have some cool textures on them, and one of them I know what it is. It's a purple coneflower, and the other one I'm not sure what it is. So I think that's a cool kind of mystery. So I'm going to pull those out and put my basket back over here, and we're going to make a journal entry kind of like a scientist today. So everybody find a clean sheet of paper. I'm actually going to put this paper on top of it. And the first thing we need to do for a nature journal is write the date because we're being scientists kind of out in nature. So today is April 2nd, 2020, and you can write out April 2nd, or you can write 4/2/2020. So I'm going to put 4/2/2020 up in the corner. And I usually like to write the location where I'm at. So if I'm out in the field drawing, if I'm out at a park like Pheasant Branch, I might write Pheasant Branch there. Today I'm just at my table, so maybe I'll write at home. It's hard to write with this big, big charcoal stick. And I like to write the time and the weather. I think the time and the weather are really important when you're outside because birds sing in the morning and not so much in the afternoon. And so if you add the time to your nature journal, then that can sort of help you understand what it was that you were seeing when you were outside. Since I'm inside today and I'm drawing something that's not alive, it's not as important, but I'm still going to add that it's 1:09. And I'm going to leave it at that. So if you want to write more notes about where you are, that's okay. So the first thing I like to do when I begin drawing something is I like to look at it and I like to turn it all around in my hands. I see somebody commented that they're drawing pine cones and pine needles and leaves, and that is great. Those are some of my favorites. When I find an object, I like to turn it around and look at it from all the different angles and think about what I want to show with my drawing. So I think that looking straight down at this is really, really interesting. It's very spiky, and all of these pieces of the flower point out in every direction, but it's a little hard to tell what it is like that. So I think I want to draw it like this, because then I get that nice stem. But I could draw it many different ways right next to each other to show the whole idea of what this plant is, show it from every angle. So to start with, I'm going to draw it like this. And when I begin putting marks on my paper, first I like to go really lightly with my pencil so that it's easy to erase or draw over if I don't want to erase. And then as I get more confident in where my lines are, that's when I'm going to start making darker marks. And before we really begin, I want to say something really important. So a lot of people get nervous about making art. They think that it has to be perfect. It has to be good enough for a frame or good enough to put on the fridge. And that's not true, because there's a lot of different ways you might make art, or reasons you might make art. Maybe it is to make something beautiful, but maybe it is just to enjoy it and explore and really be good science observers. So today, I want you to really focus on just trying to look at your nature object and observe it, and not really stress about making beautiful art, okay? Because that'll come. You just have to practice at it. But today we're just gonna make observations. Okay, ready to draw? Okay, when I first start, I like to break it down into shapes, kind of like if I was pretending I was gonna build it out of Play-Doh or make like a snowman out of it. So my shape is a circle on top and a long rectangle, kind of like a sucker or a lollipop. So I'm going to start drawing that. And if anyone wants to type in about what kind of shapes their objects are, I would love to read them. And I'm noticing that my flower, the stem is fatter up here and it gets narrower down here, which is kind of cool. It's not something that I would have thought would be true if someone asked me about it before I looked at it. So I'm going to make sure that it's wider up here when I draw it and dark and narrower down at the bottom. And I notice that this circle here, it's very dense and dark in the middle, and then all those pokey things coming out, it looks lighter because there's not as many of them. So I'm going to make sure that I have my circle here, and then I'm going to have all these little pokey lines coming out of it. I see someone else wrote in that they have a long line with a circle. Excellent. My pokey things, they go all over the whole piece. So I'm going to add them in like that. And a really important thing about making something look realistic is getting shadows and lighting right. And I should have brought a really big light here to show you this. So my piece, I have some light coming in my windows here, and the light is shining on the piece on my flower from this direction, which makes this side darker. So I know that in Madison, second graders are the kids who learn about what shadows are. And remember that shadows happen when the light is blocked by your object. So for me, my shadows are down here and on this side. So I'm going to make that a little bit darker. And it would be a really cool idea if you had a flashlight, or maybe the flashlight on a phone, and you could put a really strong light on one side of it so you could see exactly where the shadows are. That would be a cool thing to practice later today, I think. All right, so I'm really happy with the way this looks right here. So I think I'm going to try drawing mine from a different angle. If you're still drawing yours from the angle you started on, that's okay, keep going. But I'm going to make mine looking at it from top down. And so mine has that dark circle in the center, and I'm going to add the shadows in right now. And then all the spiky things go out in every single direction on it. And they even go pointing straight up. So I'm going to make some dots because that's what it looks like when they point straight up. Kind of looks like the COVID virus. All right, so that is what mine looks like from the top down. And so now, if you want, you can keep drawing just like you are. But if you feel like doing a little writing, you can start making some notes about it. And I really like to make notes about the colors and the textures that I'm seeing and things that I feel or smell, because those are all things that if I'm working with just pencil, I can't really show very well. So I'm going to write that this is pokey. And I'm going to write, It smells a little bit like dried leaves, like in the fall. Smells like dried leaves. And you can ask a grown-up to help you spell things, but spelling is not really important because this is just for you. And so as long as you can understand what you're trying to write, it doesn't matter if you spell it right or wrong, which is really important to me because I am a terrible speller, like really bad. I ask my husband how to spell things a lot of times before I send text messages. So I wrote that it smells like dried leaves and that it's pokey. I'm going to write that it is light brown and a really dark brown, almost black. So this part here is light brown. And this part here is almost black. Let's see, what else do I want to write? I wrote that it felt pokey, but you know what? This part feels pretty smooth. So I'm going to write this down here. This is pokey and this is smooth. And you see how I'm making lines that point to the thing I'm describing? That's really helpful because if I had both pokey and smooth just written off to the side, it'd be hard to tell which parts were pokey and which parts were smooth. So I like that the lines show me where I'm talking about. Okay, so now what we're going to do, you can keep drawing if you want, keep writing if you want, but one of my favorite things to do as I'm working on a journal is to answer some questions for everything that I draw. So I'm going to make a little box to write this in right here. It looks like I'm going off the page a little, so I'm going to scooch it over. And first, I'm going to make the number 1, and I'm going to write, I notice. And then I'm going to look for something cool that I notice or something that I hadn't noticed before. And I am noticing that on the very bottom here, I wonder if you can see that, or oh, it looks like it'll be too blurry. Oh, it's focusing on it. On the very bottom, there are really short little spikes there, and then they get bigger as they come around. So I'm going to write that. And if I was writing in a pen, I would write out the whole thought. But I think I'm just going to write short spikes on the bottom. Short spikes on bottom. So once you get the thing that you noticed written down, then you want to write down something that you wonder, because wonders are really important. They help us think about new ways to see the world. So I'm going to write down something that I wonder about this flower. And I wonder when it has its petal on it, when it's a live flower with the flower parts, not just the seed parts. I wonder how many different kinds of animals like to eat the nectar or the pollen. So how many animals use this as food? So I wonder who eats this flower. Okay, and then my number 3 is, and it reminds me of, so something this reminds you of. And actually, because I've been holding it like this the whole time, this reminds me of a microphone. La, la, la. Should I sing us a song? Maybe another time. So it reminds me of is going to be a microphone. I went outside my box. That's okay. It reminds me of a microphone. So this is one example of how you could use your nature journal. You could find something to draw, you could make the drawing of it, maybe write some notes, and you could write, I notice, I wonder, and it reminds me of. And you could do this when you're out on a walk, maybe if you're at a park like Pheasant Branch or Cherokee Marsh, you could bring your journal with you. Or you could do like I do and collect things and draw when you get back home. That's a really fun way too to make sure that you have the time and the space to really sit down and draw them. So another thing that I love to do with nature journals is something I learned from a teacher friend of mine. And we call it 8-minute notes. She calls it 8-minute notes, so I do too. And I think we should all do that right now. So to get started with 8-minute notes, you're going to need another sheet of paper. And we're going to write the date at the top again because we're being scientists. So it's 4/2/2020. And now you need to make a big plus sign on your paper. Okay. And we're going to do something different in each one of those boxes. And I'm going to tell you when it's time to start the box and when it's time to end. And it's okay if you don't finish. You can go back and finish when we're done. But each box is going to get 2 minutes for you to do like that. 2 minutes for you to work on it. And so for 8-minute notes for today, we're going to only think about things that happened during the class that we were watching right now. Okay. or that the class that we're in right now. So we're going to put something that happened up here, something that we did here, something someone said here, and we can draw anything about the class that we want in this box. So remember, we're only talking about the nature journaling class right now, okay? So I'm all set up. I hope you are too. And let's see, I've got my watch here so we can watch it. Ready? Go. So you can start writing something that happened today up here. And it doesn't have to be full sentences, and you don't have to be a good speller. So let's see, something that happened. You know what, my dog, he's sitting over there on the floor. Maybe I can show you later. And he was growling and barking in his sleep. So that's what I'm going to write about. And if anyone wants to type in what they're writing so that I can share it with people, that would be really fun. So you're writing something that happened during this class right now. And we have about a minute left. Keep on writing. Ooh, something else that's happening here is my kid is waking up from his nap too early. All right, keep on writing. There's 45 seconds left. I think I might also write about how it was hard writing with this big piece of charcoal. I don't usually write with them. That would be something interesting to write. Ooh, somebody is writing about how they drew a feather. Very nice. Oh, I can't wait to see. If anyone would like to post pictures of what they drew in the comments here, that would be so fun. We would love to share that with everyone. Okay, you have 10 seconds left. Keep writing, keep writing. And if you finished early, you can always write more. Okay, stop. All right, so now everybody take a big deep breath, and we'll start in on this spot right here. So this is something that you did, okay? So now we're all gonna write something that you did during this class. And let's see, I talked a lot. I talked a lot. Oh, you should start. I'm sorry, I never said go. Go. I talked a lot and drew a little. Excellent. Keep on going. And like I said, if you finish early, you can keep writing. I don't have a lot of space left because I'm writing this really big thing. So we're halfway done with our minute now. We have one more minute to go to finish up writing something that you did. So this is a really fun way to nature journal after you've been on a hike. So for our class today, there's something that happened, something that you did. They're pretty similar. You know, we sat at a table and we drew, we watched the computer. But if you were out on a hike, those might be really different answers. And parents, you can change what you have kids write in each of the blocks. It doesn't have to be happened, did, said, and drew, or and draw. So it's a really, really fun tool to use for nature journaling. And we have 5 seconds left. So everyone finish up your block. All right, stop. So in this block, we're gonna write something that somebody said. And it can be something that I said, it can be something that someone in your family said, or someone that you're drawing with said, or something that you said, whatever you want. And I'm gonna write that Linnea said, I drew a feather. So that's what I'm gonna write. And remember to put quotes on it. So I'm gonna start everyone now. Everybody start, go. So I'm going to put quotes up here, and I'm going to write, I drew a feather. And then I'm going to write, said Linnea. And maybe Linnea was the grown-up and somebody else said I drew a feather, but that's what I'm writing. Yes, this video will be posted on our website and on our Facebook page. And please, yes, share it with anyone you would like. I would love to have more people out nature journaling. While we're in this time when people are writing and we have some space, does anybody have any questions they want me to answer? You have 1 minute left for something that someone said. One minute left. Can you all see my clock ticking in the background? It's a really nice sunny day out today. I'm thinking after this is done and after I answer some emails, I might try to go outside with my nature journal and look in my garden for things to draw. There's a lot of old dried things from last year, and there's a few new things that are starting to pop up. Not too much because I mostly have a vegetable garden, but there's some grasses that look really tall that are probably not just grass from my lawn. Okay, 5 seconds, everybody, keep going. All right, stop. So now for this last box, we're going to draw something that we did. And you could draw another nature object if you wanted, or you could draw yourself while you're drawing. You could draw maybe the table you're sitting at or the room you're in. You could draw someone you're drawing with. So it's more to show about what the day was like and not really the drawings that we just did together. Ooh, a question. I'll answer that question in just a second. So everybody go and start drawing something that happened today. So I'm going to draw my laptop in front of me and my keyboard. And I have Facebook over here, and I have the Zoom windows here. And I don't know if you can see it, but I actually have a tripod right here. And so I'm going to put my big old tripod in, and my phone up here, and my paper here, and my plant here, and my nature basket here. Cool, that's my I drew. And you guys have about a minute left to keep finishing this one. So Sarah said, oh, Wyatt actually, who's 8 years old, asked, do you ever draw live things like birds? And the answer is yes, I do. I love drawing live birds. Sometimes they move around a lot though, and that gets really hard for me. So I like to draw, my favorite birds to draw are actually ducks, because often you can see them just sitting in the water or sitting on the land, and they're very, very still. I also really like drawing birds on my bird feeder because I know they keep coming back. And so even if I didn't get the drawing done in the minute or so that they were on my bird feeder, I know they'll be back and I can keep drawing them later. Another thing I like to do is actually, if I can't get outside or it's rainy, sometimes I will put on a bird nest camera. So they have lots of those online. The Cornell website is really good for that. So it's a video camera right in a bird's nest. And sometimes I draw those birds. Or I'll watch like a nature show and draw animals from my TV. And sometimes I pause it. Don't tell anyone. But drawing pictures of birds, or drawing from pictures of birds is good too, because they don't move at all. Okay, we're done with our last minute here for 8-minute notes. Does anybody have any more questions that they want me to answer? And while we're waiting for more questions, let me scroll down a minute. Oh, somebody asked, would you do shorter times or longer times with older or younger kids? And yeah, actually, you can adjust the amount of time that you have, or even the number of boxes. If you're working with younger kids or kids that maybe have anxiety about writing, maybe you just do 2 boxes and you do something that happened and then have them draw something. Or whatever you feel that your kids need, you can adjust this to make it your own. So if a shorter time would help within a attention span that maybe can't handle 2 whole minutes, that's fine. If a longer time would relieve some of that pressure and let them just sit and write, that's wonderful too. You can adjust this however you think the kids would benefit from it. Okay, so while I'm waiting for more questions to come in, I just want to say thank you. This was so much fun, and I think we're probably going to have to do another one sometime. So if anyone has any ideas about other classes they want, it doesn't have to be drawing. I can bring in skulls or my rubber animal poop. Send us those suggestions. And if there's something you want to learn how to draw, like an owl or, I don't know, a bird on a nest, let me know those too. I would love to do another video to show you how to draw something. I think we can put some links in the comments maybe about how to make your own nature journal. There's a lot of really cool websites out there about like accordion books and different ways you can make your own book. And those are really fun. So please, I want to remind you all to go check out the Safer and Funner at Home web pages. We just uploaded some new ones about connecting with nature, and you'll find sit spots and like an activity called Meet a Tree and sensory inventory, all really fun to do with small groups of kids or one kid, and also easy to do in your backyard or a neighborhood or a local park. We're going to have more online classes coming soon, so stay posted or keep watching. A Facebook Live about recognizing birds. That's a really good idea. Do you mean for kids or adults? Let me know in the comments. Either one we could do. All right, everybody. I think unless I see more comments pop up, I'm going to end this. And you can always post more questions at the bottom in the comment section, and we'll see them. So I can't wait to read them all and help you guys with whatever you need. Enjoy your time at home and stay safe and be well and go find some nature. All right, thanks.